Hello, hello, hello! Welcome to No Sade with OD and
Dev, where we bring the it factor, we have the eye for fashion, and we spill all the tea, honey.
we are both queer people of color, and we're here to discuss some topics
That may or may not offend you, but probably will.
So check your privilege at the door, sis, and let's get into it! What not a better person than Div to come with me, Odie, and just do what we do, which is keep it 100.
Yep, and for me, it's a good transition for you too, because I've really been trying to get that going again, and I feel like what better way to do it than with this No Sade podcast, because one thing we love to do is bring all the tea.
And all the Sade. No, but speaking of Sade, so throughout the podcast, if you ever hear this, honey, you know that shade was administered. So just keep that on cue. And without further ado, we're going to dive into the topic, honey. So today we thought, why not start the podcast off with a banger, with a right hook? So we're going to talk about straight sex. Like, what does that mean? Straight sex. And how does that relate to other type of identities and genders and everything else that people are so afraid to get to, you know what I mean? So...
Yep. And honestly, if you have a sensitive stomach for these types of things, I suggest you turn it off right now, because we really get candid with everything, so get ready. But first off, I guess, I think I'll ask, what even is straight?
That's a good question.
Like, what even is straight?
Straight to me is almost like it's a social construct, right? It's basically what everybody else is saying we should act like. But when I think of straight, I think of like that macho guy, like you probably somebody that wasn't
not a female.
Well, no, and that's interesting.
That's
though.
interesting. Why? Why do you think of a guy and not a girl when you hear straight?
I don't know. I think that's maybe just my own, what's the word I'm looking for?
Bias?
Yeah, I think my own bias is that, because we're all human, right? Like, I'm still even trying to evolve on my own biases, and that's a good thing that you pointed out. Like, why did my mind automatically go to a macho guy? But, no, not even a but. It's just interesting, like, how my mind still went to that. So that even shows that we've been programmed from time as a male to be like, when I think of straight, I think of a macho guy. Why did I think that? The breadwinner.
Yeah.
So that again just proves my point. But what's your vision of straight?
Honestly, and I think this is why we should talk about it, is because we really need to deconstruct this whole idea, in my opinion.
Okay, let's get into it. Okay.
I don't know. For me, straight is just, again, a social construct that we make up. So I don't know. I just feel like it's very toxic in not toxic. Let me rewind. Like, I don't know. Straightness with, I guess, how society is now. It's like we need to strive to be like the stereotypical straight, where we have to, like, for guys, it has to be like they have to bring money, they have to be muscular, they have to be strong, bring that masculine energy. With females, they have to be more submissive and, you know, do more household chores. So I feel like that really stems from this idea of straightness.
Right. And
I guess that also leads into that question that we have. So this, I guess, feeds into the whole idea of straightness being a social construct, because what if the gays are the majority?
Right. And that exactly, like, we were thinking, like, what if gays were the majority? What if homosexuality was the norm? What if heterosexuality was the minority? Would that be considered the new straight? And I know this might be, you know, a concept pretty hard for some of us to grasp at home, I know. But it's, at the end of the day, it's something to really look at, because what is straight? Why is that why is straight and arm in my mind, for example, let me not even put everybody else in the category. Why am I so brainwashed, and I will use that term very lightly, to the point that my automatic perception is a macho man? That's my automatic perception of straight. Why is it male? Why is it a macho man? Who gave me that image? Why is that the first thing? Because when we think of red, we all have a collective color of, well, unless you're colorblind, no Sade. But,
okay, we're not even 10 minutes in.
No,
we started.
Well, I mean, like, for real though, like, unless you're colorblind, like, no Sade, we all have a collective vision of what red is. But together, there was somebody that decided that this is what straight, this is what that should look like. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's just interesting to me that, and this is a nice segue into sexual beings and fluidity, because today Div and I were having a conversation. I said to him, you know, like, I've always felt like I'm a different type of individual. I feel like, yes, I've come out as being bisexual, but at the same time, I feel like I don't even identify as that. I feel like I'm more of like a pansexual type of individual. But to me, for the longest while, I just felt like there was no point of even reintroducing that, because it's hard for people to even grasp bisexuality. Like, people can't even grasp that. So to even throw pansexual into there, it's almost like trying to throw algebra to Timmy down the block. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So you know what I mean? Like, it's not even to ramble on, but it's just facts. Like, that's just, that again shows how society is grooming us to only feel like we should be a certain way. Because I shouldn't have to feel like, oh, I shouldn't have to explain pansexuality because it's too much for people to grasp. It shouldn't be like that. Like, it's 2021. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And honestly, Nick often usually like just brushes off like when people don't like say your sexuality right, or like they'll just call you gay or just bi, and that's why I stopped and asked them, was like, what do you prefer? And like, it takes 2 seconds to ask somebody that, and people act like it's the end of the world.
I just think I've just, well, it's also the fact that I've been in situations where people ask me those questions and they don't actually listen. And then it's the same thing. Or I don't like the conversations where it's like, oh, so you're bisexual, so like, do you, like, how does that work in relationships? Like, does your partner always feel like you're going to cheat, or like you're going with the other person? And it's like, that doesn't make any sense though. Because just because you're throwing another sex into the mix doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to cheat. Like, what about heterosexual relationships? If you're throwing that into the mix, does that mean that you're automatically going to keep looking at women? No, that doesn't make any sense. So it's interesting to me that a lot of people take bisexuality and equate that to being, ooh, you're super like, you're a sexual being and you can't be faithful, and how does that work? Like, do you have to, like, is there a 50-50? Is there like a predominant thing? And it's interesting to me because it's like people are really thinking too much into it. It's not that deep. I like vaginas. And I like penises. Oh, I don't know if I can say that. Oh no, well, I guess it's political. Regardless, I like both.
I like them all.
we can edit if we need to. But the point of the matter is, all right, we're gonna keep it 100. Is let people be. Like, I just don't get it. Like, it's not that deep. No, period.
This is a good like side topic, because I often hear, and like I've seen debates online about straight women specifically saying that they won't, not all straight women obviously, but a lot of straight women will say that they won't date a bisexual man because the excuse I've heard often the most is because they say, I don't want to have to compete with anyone else. So the other day, actually, on my Instagram, I posted this like TikTok where somebody was talking about like, you can't convince me that like your reason for not dating a bi man isn't biphobic. Period. And at the end of the day, it is, whether you intend it to be biphobic or not. It's still is.
It's really just interesting because you're never gonna say to a straight couple like, so do you just automatically go and start flirting with other girls or guys?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the same thing with, again, this is a side topic, but when that whole thing with Meghan Markle and her baby and like the prince and who we were trying to figure out who was racist in the family, people really just, it's like a whole thing of being insecure and stuff like that. And it's interesting to me because no one sits there and asks a Caucasian family, oh, what color do you think your child's gonna come
Like,
out to be?
the-
Like, no one
What?
does that. So it's interesting to me when people sit there and like, oh, what color do you think your child's gonna be? Well,
Yeah.
like, what are you trying to get at?
Like,
Like, what's the agenda?
Purple.
So people like to act dumb, and it's just, we're in 2021. If we can Google how to make brie on a cracker, or put brie on a cracker, if we can Google the nearest clinic, then we should be able to educate ourselves. And
not the nearest clinic.
yeah, and this is full shotting. We should be able to figure out what is acceptable and what's not acceptable to say, correct? I shouldn't have to be 23 speaking to people that are older in age, much older in age, much older in age. And I have to sit there and educate, and I have to sit there
I'm just
and
gonna say, I'm just gonna hold this at this point. That's it. Okay.
No, but it's real. Let's get into it, okay? This is the podcast. Y'all wanted it, and it's here, baby. So let's get into it. I shouldn't have to sit there and educate, and we'll get into straight sex as well, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, if somebody wants to get their back door a little bit touch, or whatever they want to do, that's their prerogative, right? So let them do what they want. Why is it always so, taboo, and so, that a straight man doesn't want to do that? Like, have you ever had a situation where, like, I don't know, if you've had a straight friend being like, I just wish I was gay so I could just be my... What do you mean you wish you were gay? Like, what do you mean you wish? This isn't a genie. I'm not a genie. I'm not about to give you your 3 wishes. Just do what you want. Like, I don't know if you've ever had that encounter, but...
No, but like with that, I feel like straight... No, again, I'm not coming for all straight people because we have some amazing straight friends. Y'all know who you are, and we all love you.
That's the team.
But some straight people, I feel like they miss out on opportunities or say things like, "I wish I was gay," or "I wish that my spouse would, engage in some backdoor activities with me."
Work.
And I've had so many friends talk to me about like, I want to do it, I don't know how to do it, can you talk to this, blah, 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 blah. And like, I feel like it's such a taboo topic, even when people are talking about it, it's just like, don't tell anyone, but like, I got my booty eaten last week. Like, I don't get why it's so taboo. Whereas other aspects of heterosexual sex aren't as taboo. I guess sex is taboo, but like, do you get what I mean? Like other parts of straight sex, so even just like how they fetishize lesbian sex, and even just straight porn. Oh my god! Sometimes I watch straight porn and like, I regret it every time. The poor, like the women, I feel so bad for them. They're getting a fat check, but you could tell like she's just there like for the money.
Right.
And it's just, I guess it just plays into this narrative that straight men are like the shit.
But like,
do you know what I mean? Or like
no Sade, really. But I'm just really, really tired of people, again, having the same conversation of being like, if I was gay, this would be so much easier. Like, what does that mean? Like, clearly, if you're having these conversations and you're thinking that maybe I could be happier or maybe this could spice up my life, my sex life, then that would just be the indication that maybe you need to just be yourself. Maybe you need to just have fun. Like, and that's the other thing too, where I don't understand when I have a lot of straight guy friends, and this is no shade to them. I love you all, hard eyes. But
all shade and all tea, all shade.
But yeah, so it's interesting to me when I have these straight friends and they sit there and I just hear them talk about, I want to do this and I wish my girl. They don't love you. Your spouse or partner, they don't love you. Like, and it's no shade, but like, if I say to my partner, I want this done or I want that done, I feel like it's acceptable.
Or like open mind.
I feel like, exactly, or to have that conversation, no peer pressuring, that's not what I'm trying to put out there. I'm just saying that if your partner isn't even willing to have like that type of conversation, then it's like, you don't love them. And at the same time, it's like, just let that person breathe and be their own being.
Yeah, and no, even with that, like, people being more, like, sexually fluid, I feel like it will allow them, I feel like actually will take a strain off of relationships, because I feel like often couples are just, they don't voice what they want in the bedroom because it's already so, like, kind of taboo. And then especially when we get into things like backdoor regions, people are just very, like, hush hush quiet about it. And I'm talking about both ways, which is going to bring us to our next topic about like, men also engaging in anal sex but receiving anal sex, but they could still be straight.
Right, so
Do you
you know,
believe that?
yeah, like I've had this conversation a bunch of times where, you know, again, I've talked to these straight guys that I hang out with, and I said, what I don't personally, and again, trigger warning, I don't personally think that if you wanted to get a, you know, fellatio done from the same sex, that would equate you to being homosexual. I personally don't think so. I think for you to be homosexual, in my opinion, and everybody has their own opinion, you can correct me if you're wrong, but this is my opinion, so you can't really correct me on my opinion. But anyways, so I think that listen, I just got myself flustered and all together. I need to get myself together. I just feel like if you were
The fellatio on straight
right,
men.
if you were to get that done, I don't think it's gay. Or homosexual or homosexuality. I don't think that's that deep. I think if you want to have a relationship with somebody and you want to build that relationship, that's where I think homosexuality comes into. If you just want to get a 1-2, a couple bobs, then that's just a couple bobs. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I've heard this. I've actually heard this like discussion before, and when I first heard it, I was like, you're crazy. Like, if a, like, I'm just gonna take it in a gay context. Like, if a guy is giving you head, you're gay. But I that was before I, like, grew more and really learned more about sexuality as a whole.
Right.
And so, like what you were saying, it's not homosexual. Again, our opinion. You can't correct us on it. Until, like, you want to develop feelings and a relationship. And I think for me at the time, why it was so hard to grasp that idea was because at that time when I first heard, this was years ago, I was very closed-minded sexually. I thought relationships were based solely on sex, and I feel like that is still the narrative a lot today. So I feel like when people hear that, they're just like, wait, what? No, like, if you... And again, that's why it gets so taboo, because, like, straight guys, like, I feel like they do have... gay thoughts, call them what you want. Like, just like how women could, like, compliment another woman and be like, girl, you look so fine, you look so hot. Like, some of my girlfriends, like, have made out with each other, and it's not that deep. Like, it's really not that deep for them. But, like, and then when it comes to men, straight men specifically, cis straight men, I feel like, tend to have to prove themselves.
But I think it's about image, too. I think a lot of people want to protect their image, and I think a lot of people don't want... Because, again, it's almost like getting that scarlet letter painted on you. As soon as, like, a straight individual gets that letter of they're homosexual on them, it's automatically they feel shunned. They feel displaced. And again, sorry if these are big words for some... I shouldn't be throwing shade like that. Woo, we'll scratch this out.
Throw it. He's calling you dumb. Okay, for the dumb ones in the back.
No, because...
Listen up.
No, because I just get so angry when it comes to issues about gender, about sexuality, and about people being ignorant, because it doesn't affect you. And when straight people... And again, no shade... If you want to have a little fun on the backdoor region, have a little fun, sweetheart. Enjoy your life. There's only one life to live. So at the end of the day, let's do anatomy class. Correct? The library is open.
Let's do
the classroom is open. Where is the male G-spot?
Where is it? Can you tell us where it is?
No, you guys can Google it. Figure it out. You can do the math.
No, straight men know where it is.
No, they know where it is.
They just act like they don't know where it is.
Like what? Like, I'm just confused.
Honestly, okay, so I'm not naming any names or anything like that, but I have heard stories in the 23 years that I've been alive sometimes like, and these sometimes I meet random people at parties, and like I remember this one girl still couldn't even tell you her name, whatever, and I remember her telling
I'm gonna point her out from a can of paint.
No, literally, and not just her. I'm just thinking of this situation. I've heard this multiple times where a straight woman would, while they're giving head, they'll like, you know, stick a finger in, or like stick a finger into like the guy's ass, and like sort of like eat them out too at the same time while giving them head.
Mm.
And they say they go fucking crazy every single time. There's not been once that they've done, and I've talked to, I want to say like a handful of people about this.
But wouldn't you?
And no guy has ever like been like, no, I don't like that, no, I don't, because they know what's good and they know that it feels good.
Correct.
Okay, because our G spot is there, your prostate is there, and that's what's gonna keep you going.
100%. It's just, again, super interesting to me, and you know, I just think people need to just experiment.
Yeah.
I think people need to really
just relax. It's not
relax.
that serious. You want your booty eaten? Oh, I almost said the word. You want your booty eaten? You want your cookie eaten? Get it all done. Like, sex is not that taboo. Like, we all do it. Everyone engages in it. Like,
100%.
let's talk about it, and and that's again why I guess we really wanted to talk about this topic, is to break the stigma and the barriers.
The barriers and the misconceptions.
It's holding you back from great sex. It really is.
And it proves and it shows, because when I have girlfriends and they come to me being like, oh my gosh, this was the first time so-and-so did such and such. And I'm like, girl, we've been doing that since like second year. What are you talking about? They're now pulling that out? And you now just got that done? No, that's full shade. That is full Sade. You're now just pulling out those words?
Or even, like, they'll be like, oh, I did something so kinky, I got my booty eaten. Or, like, I got, like, a thumb in my butt. I was like, bitch. You need to go to a gay bar. You need to go to a gay bar.
We're gonna keep it cute, but some of y'all are playing checkers still. Y'all need to upgrade. Get your
Seriously, it just holds people back from great sex at the end of the day. And honestly, listen to what we have to say. Don't listen. It's really a you problem, because I'm sleeping just fine and I'm having great sex, so I don't really care.
So I think what we're basically gonna do is, we came up with this idea. We're giving out awards because we're generous honeys, and I think why not give somebody or some people or just in general, you know, an award of being a lackluster individual. So
individual. We had a different word.
But because we have to keep PG for YouTube. Yeah, it rhymes with itch. All right.
A lot of y'all have.
Lacking in very much luster. So that being said, we both have two, I guess, categories that we're giving this award out today. So for me, I'm giving the lackluster of the day award to individuals that don't want to get their backdoor played with. I think you deserve that award because you're missing out on a lot of opportunities, and a lot of my girlfriends are coming back to me saying that you don't know what you're doing.
And that's on what?
Mary had very many little lambs. So it's just embarrassing that some of y'all really don't know what you're doing. Like, let's just step it up. Like, again, what are y'all going on those sites for? And we know what those sites are. What are you doing on those sites? You just, and I'm not saying that that, you know, the situations, I'm trying to be very PG. But I'm not saying that sex needs to be something like what we see on those sites. But I'm like, girl, can't we take something? Can't we take a little lesson from it? Can't we take a little knowledge home?
Yeah, no.
Y'all are still doing starfish? Like,
okay, now stop coming from starfish.
Girl, gone.
Starfishing is
y'all need to elevate your craft.
Honestly,
elevate your craft.
So I guess my lackluster individual of the day goes to all the hoes that continue to drag gay men for the things you low-key want to do. Okay? Because I'm tired. I'm tired of people always coming for gay men about having anal sex and HIV and all these stereotypes when we all know that's what you want to do at the end of the day. And nobody's hating. Do it. That's what we're here to tell you. Enjoy. Have fun. You only live once.
Just educate
Like,
yourself. I think
yeah,
if you can
seriously.
take anything home, and this is another thing, you know, at the end of each episode, I feel like we need to give somebody or some people or whoever's listening, you know, a tool for their tool belt. So I think for today, the tool that we're giving you is education. I think what you need to do, people, please go and educate. If
Yeah.
you can Google how to scratch your back, if you can Google the nearest place to get a haircut,
Yeah.
let's just Google what not to say or how to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not that hard. If you want to, I don't know, improve your whatever game, Google it. We Google
Yeah.
everything. YouTube it. Do what you need to do. So it's just interesting that, like, people continue to just fumble the bag. But you know what? At the end of the day, if you're not in that, what is it? It's hard to compete when you don't compare.
Exactly.
So if you're falling to the wayside, people are gonna notice. So this is just a tool for your tool belt from us.
yeah, and stop making sex such a big deal. 'Cause
It's really not that serious.
It's not. Literally how, and that's why we love to talk about it openly. And trust me, there's gonna be lots of episodes because next week's is we're gonna go
We can
to our queer folk. So we're gonna really get into stuff. I feel like that's gonna be like 2 episodes because there's a lot to dissect.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yes,
There's a
a
lot.
lot of trauma to unpack because the community can be interesting sometimes.
Well, especially here in the city that.
Okay. We're not-
How do I say this without being shady? The city that I'm in. There's a. Anyways, we'll get into that next week. But thank you all for tuning in.
Yes.
It was a great first
I
episode.
know. We finished.
We'll be back. We're gonna be talking about a whole bunch of other topics. And then guess what? If you want to hear anything and you want us to discuss something, sound off. Let us know. And we'll be back with another video. Ooh, am I Dr.
Check
Seuss?
it on YouTube.
Yes, check it on YouTube. Check it on all the platforms. Listen to the podcast.
Yes.
And check us out on Instagram, TikTok.
All of that.
Period.
And leave your opinions because we do talk about a lot of controversial and like I figure like interesting things, and we want this to be a safe space, even if you don't agree with what we say. Leave a comment and let's talk about it. And like we love, that's why me and Nick love having conversations like this. And in other weeks we'll get into more like interesting things. Just so we can open up different points of views. There's so many things that I've learned
100%.
by just having so many open conversations with people. So
No, 100%. So, anyways, y'all, we will see you on the next one. Toodles. And because we have the it factor, we have the eye for fashion, and we bring all the tea.
No shade.
No shade.